Welcome back to the channel, my brothers, or welcome to the channel if this is your first time, and if it is your first time, where have you been? Anyway, my name's Andy R, and this is the Brotherhood of Men, and today I want to talk to you about a very important subject, and that is the fight back starts right here. So let's get into the video. That's right, the fight back starts right here. I promised you this video, and I spoke about it in a previous video about the toxic outcomes of single mothers, or single mothers' toxic outcome. And in that I told you that we need some answers to some of these questions, some things that we can actively do to stop the rot. Men are being vilified en masse. Men are being made the butt of, quite frankly, their society's jokes, and we are sick and tired of it. We are sick and tired of women not being held accountable for their poor decisions. We are sick and tired of women being forgiven for making bad choices. We are sick and tired of men being held at a higher standard and seeing no equality in the Western world. And it is time to fight back. Now, I don't mean with these, and I don't mean with these. I mean with this and with this. We fight back because we are men. Now, in the past, and not too distant past as well, probably 60, 70 years ago, women held other women accountable. Women held other women to a higher standard. Women showed other women how to move properly through the world and create a great society. All of our Western societies were built with both men and women working together. But over the last about 50 years plus, women have got it into their head that they are men's enemies. That they wanted everything men had, but have never taken on the responsibility that men have. And they've been allowed to do this. And we men, over these, like I say, 50 plus years, have become seen as less than. Although we are still the ones that run society. Notice I say run society. I don't say rule it. Because we don't rule, but we run the very infrastructure that every single woman out there takes for granted. And that's the main issue here. Women take for granted. They take men for granted, as though we are always going to step up and protect them, give them a soft landing when they make terrible decisions, when they have a bad outcome. It's always going to be a soft, lovely, comfortable landing, because somebody will always forgive their actions or pass laws to help and reward them for poor choices. And we men are sick and tired of it. We're so fed up that many men are walking away, quite literally walking away from anything to do with women. That is very sad. We should never have been at war. We never were at war before. We meshed together. We are a unit. We became families. We became units together to conquer the world together. And now Western societies are quite literally collapsing because we've been forced into conflict with each other. And it's wrong. So how does the fight back start? Well, we want women held as accountable as men for their actions. We want women to have to face the same responsibilities men have to face. We want all things equal. Women constantly say that feminism is all about equality, when in actual fact it was never about equality, and it never has been about equality. It's about superiority. While we men want equality. We want women held to the same standards we're held to. We want women to have the same responsibilities and be accountable for their poor actions by themselves. So how do we do that? Well, there's only one real way that we can do that, and that's through the laws and through the court systems. So you, my brothers out there, have to become a little bit more active. Start emailing your politician of your area, whether it be local, state, or whether it be all the way up to those in the cabinets. You need to start forcing them to start looking at the situation. But you can do something on your own level, and that is stop defending women. Stop being their patsies. Stop the simping. For God's sake, stop the simping. The moment you give a woman your resources, your finances for nothing, she will carry on taking it, and she hates you for doing it. So stop giving your money, your resource, your time to those who actively dislike you, if not hate you. Any company that starts promoting something that is against men, stop giving them money. I don't care who they are. I don't care if it's your energy supplier, move energy suppliers. I don't care if it's your internet provider, move internet providers. I don't care if it's down to your personal grooming company, move to another. There is always an alternative. All companies need to understand some very, very simple facts. Your job as a company is to sell me your crap and make a profit for you. That's all businesses ever had in mind. That's all they do. The moment you think you have some ideology that you're going to force upon me or my brothers out there, you are going to find very quickly that you lose the profit you had. We are sick and tired of giving our money to those who actively hate us, who don't like us, who are talking against us. So we're going to take away our resources from you. I'll give you a perfect example. A few years ago there was an advert that Gillette, the shaving etc. Company, came out with that basically said all men were bullies, all men were mistreating women, all men were all men. When in actual fact the statistics show that is a tiny percentage of men who act in that way. From that day forward I said, yeah, you're not getting any money from me now. Because it was so insulting that advert was. And all you do is make razors, shaving foam, etc., male grooming kit. They're your target audience. And you thought the way to reward your target audience for that money that they give you was to tell them that they're rubbish, that they're just basically crap, and that they needed to do better. Well, how about you stop telling me how you think and you just sell me the stuff you make and I'll decide whether I buy it. But because you started getting on your high horse and telling me how to behave, how I should move through the world and that I'm a terrible man, when I've done nothing wrong except for buy your products and make you massively rich in the process, I decided you're not getting a single penny of mine again, because there are dozens and dozens of alternatives to your product. And the trouble is that men are very loyal to products. More so than women. Women are very disloyal to products. If something new and shiny comes along, they'll jump on it. Hey, I've got the new so-and-so smell, or I've got the new thing that removes hair, and I've got the new blah blah, whatever it is. But men find a product we like and we will stick with it for decades. Until you come along and start preaching to us and start telling us we're terrible for doing nothing wrong other than being a man. You start telling us we are the worst kind of men out there. The men that we ourselves actually abhor. Who we ourselves call out. But none of that was said in this advert. It was all about you're all terrible. So me personally, I don't buy their products anymore. If I can see two on the shelves, I know that they're pretty much both the same. And if one's a different brand, then that person who's telling me they actively hate me, well, I'm not going to give my money to somebody who hates me. And that's the same for every product. That's something we men can do today. We can stop giving our sweat equity. Look at it this way: the most important thing you have in your life, the most valuable product you have, you have in your life, is your time. And you have to expend some of that time to earn your money. Then to waste that time and money to give it to somebody who hates you, who actively dislikes you, who is talking down to you, who is telling you how to behave when you've done nothing wrong, stop it. Take that away from them and give it to somebody who's not trying to sell you some ideology, who's not trying to sell you some nonsense. There are always alternatives out there. And the only way these people will realise, these companies will realise their only job is to sell you their crap and make a profit and stop trying to moralise, is if you take your resources away from them. And this is what men are doing on a larger scale now to women. We are sick and tired of you me tooing us when we've done nothing wrong. We're sick and tired of you of time outing us when we've done nothing wrong. We're sick and tired of you telling us we're crap, that we're not worth it, that you can take us for granted when we run the very society you rely on. We are not having it anymore. So on a larger scale, the only way it can be changed if we can get the laws changed that stop rewarding women for being poor citizens. When we can stop rewarding women for making bad choices. Because if you reward somebody for making a poor choice, guess what they're going to do? They're going to carry on making poor choices. And society in general suffers for those poor choices. Women are constantly forgiven for making bad decisions, or they're constantly rewarded for making poor choices. So we men want the playing field levelled. We want women held accountable like we men are. I will give you an example. If a woman gets pregnant, now first of all, I think there are very, very few. There are tiny amounts, like I say, when I talk about this sort of stuff, I talk in generalities. I talk about the average, because there are always outliers on each side. But there are very few children born in this world, in the Western society, that a woman did not want. Very few. So that means a woman has had many choices up to the point of getting pregnant. She has the choice of whether she's on birth control. She has a choice of almost 40 different types of birth control method to choose from. Then she has another choice of whether she opens her legs for a man, whether she sleeps with a man, whether she lets a man inside her body. Then, if she's taken poor choices in those first two, of she didn't make sure she was protected, or made sure the man was protected, that was another choice she had. Hey, you're not getting in here unless you're wearing a condom. That's another choice. If she's ignored that choice, ignored the making a man wear a condom choice, has then ended up pregnant and decided to have it. All of these are poor choices of a woman, not a man. A woman has to carry the child, and then a woman is given more options after those poor choices. She can, if she wishes, in most places nowadays in the Western world, choose to have an abortion. Some women are actually using that as another form of birth control, but the whole choice is given to a woman whether she has that child. Even after the child is born, she is then given another choice whether to keep it or not. She can put it up for adoption and again wipe her hands and say, I'm out of this being a mother situation. So all of those choices were given to a woman. All of those choices because she made poor choices. None of those choices were given to a man, so I suggest something else as a fight back. We want financial abortions. We men want the choice to be able to sign a legally binding documents that we say, I do not wish to be a father to this child and be responsible for nothing. That means no financial support from me. That means no medical support from me. That means I ask nothing of that child later in life. I sign a document, we can call that a financial abortion. I have decided not to be a father, just like you had all of those choices of not to be a mother and still went ahead of it. And now you're holding men accountable for your poor choices, and the government and the laws are backing you up. In other words, rewarding you for your poor choices. Well, we men are sick and tired of it. Many men are finding that they've been financing children that are not biologically theirs just because a woman said, hey, it was him. We're not having that anymore. We want the choice. If somebody comes to us and says, you are the father of this child and you are financially responsible for this child, we want the responsibility to be able to say, I wish a financial abortion. I want nothing to do with the child and I want to pay nothing for that child. If this happened, I can guarantee that within a very short time, probably one generation, we would see a massive decline in single motherhood. For the simple reason nobody's there to bail them out from their poor choices. We need to fight back. Women no longer self-regulate. Women no longer hold other women accountable for poor choices. So it's time we do. The only way we can do that is stop giving money to those who hate us, financially cut ourselves away from all of this nonsense, and also legislate. We need to get legislators to level the playing field. Stop this superiority nonsense that women have come used to. I'm not saying that women have to be subservient to men. No, absolutely not. None of this is about that. This is all about leveling the playing field. Anyway, do you agree with me? If so, leave it down in the comments below. Are you going to stop giving your money to those who actively hate you or are telling you how to behave when it's none of their bloody business? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, give the video a like, because the video likes. And so do I, and it helps the algorithm. Also, if you think another man is going to enjoy this content, he's going to look at it and say, thankfully somebody's finally said the truth, then share it wide, because I want this channel to grow and I want this movement, this idea to grow so that we can start leveling the playing field. We can start having the outcomes that men so richly deserve. When we are running the world, we actually deserve a few rewards, but we certainly do not deserve to be punished just because we're a man and we're running the world. Anyway, I'm going for a cup of tea because, well, I think I've earned one. You, my brothers out there, you take care of yourself, because if you don't, who will? And I'll talk to you soon. Bye now.